When it comes to your business, no one provides better security and life safety systems than Safety Systems. Protect your employees, your products, and your records with a single phone call. Professional technicians ready to design, install, and monitor your cutting-edge fire and security systems. Electric locks and surveillance cameras. Emergency and after-hours response and repairs. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and life safety systems.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Every red dot on this map marks a car wreck case worked by the car wreck attorneys, Bill Hotson Associates, like this one on the Andrew Johnson Highway.
Ann got hurt in a wreck between two trucks. The insurance companies blamed each other and just wouldn't be fair. So we took it to court and got Ann a settlement of $180,000. We've been fighting these battles for 30 years and we're ready to fight for you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hotson Associates.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like G3 John boats, built Gator tough. G3 Johns include all the features you could want from a workhorse boat. Massive live well capacity, lockable storage, even a midship fuel tank that allows for smoother running. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
The following is a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.
You are watching the Sports Source Kickoff with John Pennington, presented by Madisonville Marine.
Good Thursday evening and welcome into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine. Fast-paced show. What we're going to do today, kind of take a look at where Tennessee sits currently, look at the injury situation, moving ahead, looking at that stretch run, where is Tennessee going to wind up? 5 big questions about this team that we'll ask over the course of the next 30 minutes. We appreciate you joining us. Let's dive right in. First segment of our show brought to you by the folks who bring the whole show, Madisonville Marine. You see their website right there. They're located on Highway 411 North in Madisonville, whether it's John boats, bass boats, whatever you need. Madisonville Marine, the best selection. Any kind of model, any kind of brand, they've got it. Madisonville Marine. All right. Want to show you the stakes. Let's reset the table here a little bit before we introduce the panel. Catastrophic injuries to offense, defense, and some big stars. I mean, some of the guys you were counting on this year have been missing. 5-2 with the East title goal, still within grasp at this point, despite the injuries. 1 game behind Florida, but Tennessee does hold the tiebreaker, beating them head-to-head. Their opponents are combined 34-11, so you've played the toughest part of your schedule to date. Turnovers, penalties, and slow starts have been issues for the most part of this year for this team. Resilience, up until the Alabama game when I think your back was broken by injuries, but resilience has been a trait about this team all year. And basically you can afford no more injuries right now, and especially those 3 right there. I mean, you are down running back, you're down on defense. Dobbs, we know his importance. So there's your reset of the Tennessee season to date. Let me introduce the guys who are going to be talking about this team today. We have, to my right, from the WNML, Sports Radio WNML, Jimmy Himes right here. We have Kyler Kerberson, VFL. We have VFL Daniel Hood right there. Appreciate you guys for being here. Of course, 2 recent VFLs, both played under the Butch Jones regime and under the Dooley regime. And one was recruited under the Kiffin regime.
Yeah, so. Actually recruited by Fulmer.
Recruited by, there you go. Yeah. Goes all the way back. We reset the table there. I want to talk, we do this every week, so let's talk about 3 up, 3 down. Players specifically with this situation. Who are 3 guys who are playing well right now? We'll start on the positive. Jimmy, I'll let you begin.
I'm going to go with Elliott Berry at linebacker. Here was a guy that on Tennessee's original organizational chart.
That's right.
Was not even listed. And here's a guy that really hadn't played much at all. They thrust him into the lineup due to injuries against Alabama. He ended up with 8 or 9 tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss. And I think given the situation he was put in, I thought he did a nice job. Yeah, he missed some tackles and maybe he wasn't in all the run fits as he was supposed to, but I thought he did enough good things to where I thought he really came out and played pretty well given the circumstances.
Kyler, I know you wanted to, this is kind of an up on the curve. We're grading on the curve here, but you wanted to make a point.
Up on the curve. I just want to talk about Marcus Tatum and the fact that he's a true freshman, had to come in versus Alabama, which is a very hard thing to do, and he held his own for the most part. Not saying he had an unbelievable game, but that guy stepped up in a big way versus a really, really good team.
And you're talking about a guy who hasn't, he's not the size they want him at this point. He's 265 out there going against probably a first-round draft pick. That's tough.
Exactly. It's a very tough job.
And Daniel Hood, who you got on your up list?
I got to go with the defensive line, and I think we got to go with Derek Barnett. I mean, the guy's come out and played incredible this year. You got offenses that are scheming their protections towards him, and what does he do? He goes out there, gets an interception, gets a fumble recovery, really accounts for all of Tennessee's 10 points by putting them in position for it, and really just been the one anchor, the one consistent thing that we can count on defense this year with everything going up and down with it.
We know how much of the offense flows through Josh Dobbs, so obviously he's the team MVP, but I think this year, and I don't know how many people would have said that before the year, if you had to pick a number 2, clearly it's Derek Barnett. He's been your second most valuable player to date.
Sure.
All right. Let's talk. Usually we talk about 3 guys who aren't playing well, but I want to look at it a little differently with all the people hurt right now. Give me 3 guys who haven't contributed much so far or maybe need to contribute more coming down the stretch. So, Danny, I'll start with you in terms of the down list.
Just went defense. Got to go back with the offensive side of the ball and John Kelly. Right now is really your time to shine. With the recent news coming out this week is that Kamara's going to have a knee injury. Well, it's time to get back. Hurd may not still be 100%, may be 100%. So you got to get in there and get some yards. And with the issues we're having on the offensive line with depth and everything else, you've got to come in and play well. You've got to make holes that aren't there, make that first guy miss to try to get to second and short, or second and manageable at least. And so I think a lot of pressure is going to be put on him this week.
Kyler, who's somebody that needs to step up down the stretch?
Well, I'm not necessarily going after a guy that hasn't played well. He's definitely played well, but I'm going to say Darren Kirkland. He hasn't been in the past few games. He hasn't been in this hard 4-game stretch. And now that he's going to be back versus South Carolina, I mean, he's going to be the anchor of that defense. He's a linebacker. Everybody looks towards him. He's got to be a leader. And he's the first one of our big stars that's going to come back and play for us. So he really needs to have a good game.
Jimmy, who you need more of?
I'm going to say Tyler Bird. He has shown some flashes, but I think he's got the potential to be dynamic. You can use him on the speed sweep. You can put him in the slot. I think he can catch a short pass and have a big gain. I think he also has the speed to be a deep threat. And I really like his ability. I think he's a guy that can and will step up more. You got Preston Williams who quit the team, so and you've had some banged up receivers. I think Bird is a guy to watch for, and I think he'll continue to get better each week. All
right. Now, before we get into, I'm going to show you the schedules here in a second, but Jimmy, let's talk injuries. 2 things. First of all, let's talk about the downside. You had an interesting conversation this week that allowed you to tally up all of the people who've been hurt this year.
It's amazing. When you look at it, there have been 16 different players that have missed games due to injury. Then you got a player that was dismissed and a player that quit. All right, that's 18. 9 other players have missed playing time during the course of a game because of an injury. That's 27. That's a lot. That's a reason.
You've covered Tennessee. Yeah, that's right. That's a reason. Not an excuse. You covered Tennessee for, 30 years now?
Plus.
Ever seen anything like? Is there a year that compares?
No, there's not one that compares. I remember one year in the off season they had 20 to 22 players that had off season surgeries that missed off season, but not during a season. Nothing like this.
All right, and let's go ahead and put up the schedule for Tennessee and Florida. Paths to Atlanta, as I said, you're 1 game behind Florida, but you do hold the tiebreaker. Clearly, on paper, their schedule is more difficult. You look Georgia neutral site at Arkansas, at LSU, Tennessee. Their schedule isn't as formidable, but when you look at the injuries, it's a question mark. Jimmy, this week, Butch Jones talked about the injuries. You never know how much you can trust Butch Jones on the injury front. He's one of those coaches that kind of says one thing and something else may happen on Saturday. But he made the point that he thinks, with the exception of the guys who've been ruled out for the season, most of these players he's expecting back.
He is. He's expecting them all back, and that would certainly help because you were damaged goods playing against a great Alabama team. If you can get those guys back, if you get fresh legs from the open date, I think this is a team that certainly can and should run the table if you get those guys back, in particular on that offensive line, which has been so decimated.
And we'll get to that later in the show as well, if you get those guys back, if you don't get these guys back. But I think most of us, all of us, would still put Tennessee in the driver's seat to Atlanta. They don't have it in terms of the standings, but they're the most likely East champion. Correct, everyone?
Yes.
I'm sure Kyler's going to argue with me on that one. All right. Very good. When we come back, the rest of the show, we're going to focus on 5 big questions. We'll look at blame game in a couple of areas, but next, what are the biggest worry areas? Is it offensive line or defensive line? Linebackers or running backs? I'll keep doing this with my hands. Come on back on the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like Skeeter Bass Boats, the maker of the very first American bass boat. Skeeter's consistent innovation creates the most maneuverable, best engineered, and best designed boats for anglers everywhere. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Games and Things announces their 36th anniversary celebration, Friday through Monday, October 21st to the 24th. Everything in Games and Things huge showroom is marked 20 to 50% off for this 4-day only event. Pool tables, game room furniture, home theater seating, and kitchen and bar stools, all 20 to 50% off. Enjoy special pricing on floor samples, discontinued models, and new introductions, plus free upgrades and extra incentives for manufacturers. It's 4 days only, October 21st to the 24th at Games and Things.
Life should be fun, fun, fun.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Every red dot on this map marks a car wreck case worked by the car wreck attorneys, Bill Hotz and Associates, like this one on I-40 near Asheville Highway.
Ed got rear-ended by a truck and hurt his back. He couldn't have an MRI because of an old war injury, so the insurance company refused to pay. We filed a lawsuit and they paid. Ed fought for all of us, and we fought for Ed.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hotz and Associates.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff. This segment of our show brought to you by Games and Things. You see their website right there, folks. They have tomorrow through Monday their 36th anniversary sale. 36 years they've been in business. They are going to have everything in their store 20 to 50% off. Let me repeat that. 36th anniversary sale tomorrow through Monday. Everything in the store 20 to 50% off. And if you go in there and you're the first person to buy something and say Sports Source, I'll cover the first $100 off your purchase. So 20 to 50% off. If you're the first person to say Sports Source starting tomorrow through Monday on their sale, I'll cover another $100. We'll knock that off the price. Games and Things. Can't beat it. Matter of fact, the seats these guys are seated in, I bought them probably 6-7 years ago at Games and Things. Go down there. All right. We will play the blame game a little bit later with the rush attack and the defense. But 2 quick questions about what's currently a depleted depth chart, and we don't know how much it's going to be repleted. Butch Jones says he expects all of his offensive linemen back for South Carolina. But that unit has been shaky all year, and we've had issues. On defense, the Vols have lost Danny O'Brien to dismissal, Khalil McKenzie to injury for the year. Depending on Kendall Vickers' health, Tennessee could be starting defensive tackles number 4 and number 5. So what's the bigger worry the rest of the way? Is it the offensive line or the defensive line? Jimmy, I'll start with you.
I think it's the offensive line because still on the defensive line you have a great player in Derek Barnett. You don't have a great player anywhere on the offensive line in my opinion. You still have Corey Vereen. You still have Kongbo that you can roll out there. I think Vickers will be back. I still think you've got enough bodies to have a pretty good defensive line. The offensive line to me is the bigger concern because of the injuries and because I don't think they have played to their ability yet.
Agreed, and I think they've had issues with the continuity. They finally seem to be showing some improvement, and then you have the guys wiped out by injury against Alabama. Yeah. Your guys' thought, is it offensive line or defensive line? You played defensive line, you played offensive line. Who's the bigger worry?
I'm going offensive line as well. Just like Jimmy said, you got great players backing up the defensive line. But on the offensive line, if you can't get a play started, then you're already dead in the dirt. And then on the other side of it, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, welcome to my show. That's not the first time that's happened. Kyle,
take it over. I'll finish this
I would say the offensive line too. I am O-line guy, but I mean, you have Derek Barnett with you at the D-line, and I mean, even though guys get hurt, he can step up and make a play. And the O-line, I mean, they really need their starters to perform well. And I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be back in South Carolina because most of their injuries are little things, they're little ankle rolls and stuff like that they can come back from.
All right. You want to follow up?
Yep, I got it now. So the great thing, though, is that if we can get an offensive line playing well, then I think you look at your defensive line, that offense can build a lead. Well, when you build a lead on these teams, now we got to force them into passing situations. Tennessee's strength right now is putting some smaller guys in at defensive tackle to get in a good pass rush, but you don't get to that unless you got a good offensive line.
Yeah.
So if you got a bad offensive line, it's going to cost you on defense because they can just run the ball.
I think defensive line, you can't afford any more injuries, but the offensive line is the bigger consideration because not only have you had the injuries, you haven't been consistent there so far. Darren Kirkland Jr. may return against South Carolina, but the Vols have been playing the last couple of weeks. They're number 5 and number 6 linebackers. That's just incredible. Now you've got Alvin Kamara with a situation, maybe out 2 weeks, 4 weeks. UT may not say. What's the bigger concern moving forward now? Linebackers, running backs. I'll start down there this time. What do you got?
I think I'm still going with linebackers. You know, you're getting one back, but still your depth just isn't there. And when, you know, the main thing you lose when you get to guy 3, 4, and 5 is it's not just the instincts, but it's that size and speed. So now you can't play the run as well, and you're not going to be able to catch up like Jalen Hurts against Alabama. They were just outrunning our defensive end and our linebackers. Yeah. And it just goes back to they don't have that NFL speed as the other guys.
One of the things when you get down there that low, it's simply recovery speed. I mean, it's to the point where if you've got a Darren Kirkland out there and he starts to follow the flow of the play the wrong way, he's got enough speed that he can maybe make up for that one wrong step.
Yeah.
You got guys out there now who don't have that speed, which means they have to be 100% mentally focused and correct on every play, and that's just not going to happen. Kyler, your thoughts, running backs or linebackers? What's the bigger concern for you?
I would definitely say linebackers too. Running backs, you still have Hurd, you still have John Kelly, and they had great performances all year and in the past. So I think you're okay at running back, even though Alvin is out. At linebacker, it is just depleted. There are so many injuries at that position, and it's been a weak point for our defense since our 2 big guys went out. I mean, every team has attacked our linebackers. So,
Jimmy, I'll give you 30 seconds here.
Yeah, I'm going to go also with the linebackers, and I'm going to agree with them, one, because they're right, and second, because they're a whole lot bigger than I am. But to me, John Kelly's a really good back also, I think. I think Hurd is fine, and I think going against teams that aren't quite as good defensively, he'll show that.
Right.
At linebacker, I think you're still concerned about that. How effective is Kirkland going to be? Can he play all the snaps? And I still don't think you have much depth at linebacker, so I think that's the bigger concern.
Another concern to add into that linebacker thing is now nobody you're going to face has the talent on offense of Alabama, and I don't think they have the offensive mind of Lane Kiffin either. However, Alabama showed you how to attack Tennessee in its linebacking situation. So any of these teams you're going to face down the stretch, will they be able to push some of those same pressure points the way that Alabama did? They don't have the athletes, but can they scheme you the way that Alabama did? So linebacker continues to be an issue. When we come back, we're going to talk about the run game and the defense, both down from last year. We will point the finger of blame at something or someone. Come on back on the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Madisonville Marine.
Games and Things announces their 36th anniversary celebration, Friday through Monday, October 21st to the 24th. Everything in Games and Things huge showroom is marked 20 to 50% off for this 4-day only event. Pool tables, game room furniture, home theater seating, and kitchen and bar stools, all 20 to 50% off. Enjoy special pricing on floor samples, discontinued models, and new introductions, plus free upgrades and extra incentives for manufacturers. It's 4 days only, October 21st to the 24th at Games and Things.
'Cause life should be fun, fun, fun.
When it comes to your home, no one provides better security and audio-video systems than Safety Systems. Control everything using your tablet or smartphone, whether it's a hidden TV or the temperature in your home. Lighting, doors that open and close, lock and unlock, cameras that allow you to watch your home from wherever you may be, all at the touch of a button. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and audio-video systems.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like the G3 Talent Series. Talents give you everything you want from an all-aluminum boat. A smooth ride thanks to wave-splitting entry lines, lockable storage, live wells, insulated coolers. G3 Talents have it all. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine. This segment brought to you by Phoenix Conversion. Folks, when it has to be the best for your vehicle, take it to Phoenix Conversions. You've seen their spots, you see their website. Get out there, check them out for yourself. For your car or truck, there's nothing better. Phoenix Conversions, all right? Want to look at the Tennessee injury situation in the next segment a little bit more, and should expectations be tweaked at all. But first, very quickly here, I'm going to play the blame game. Tennessee's rushing attack is down from last season. I think we have some graphics. We'll leave those up for a second. You'll see 2015 compared to 2016, rushing attempts down, okay, but not so much that it would make up for the rushing yardage that's really down. Yards per attempt is down pretty good, almost a full yard. Rushing TDs, Herd's yards per game way down, Herd's yards per attempt way down. What are we going with? And we'll leave that up for a second. Is it O-line? Is it injuries? Is it play calling? Is it Herd just on his own? What's the biggest concern about that run game?
I think it's the offensive line coupled with the injuries they've had. Don Mahoney, the offensive line coach, said something really interesting, I thought, before the year. It was at Media Day. He said he was concerned about the strength of the offensive linemen. He was worried about that. And he said this week when we interviewed him that they did not have a good fall camp. They were inconsistent. They were having trouble finding their chemistry. He said they started to play better in that stretch with Florida, Georgia, and A&M, and then they took a huge step back against Alabama. But I think it's the overall play of the offensive line primarily.
Okay, offensive line. We get 10 seconds for each of you. You agree, disagree?
I think that has something to do with it, but I also think it's the strength of schedule. These 4-game stretches have been really hurting us, and if you remember from last year, we had better offensive numbers in the second half of the season.
Yeah, so schedule is a big part of that. Yeah. Daniel?
I'm going to go with whoever set the initial depth chart for the offensive line, because I think they pick up where they left off last year. If you start Wiseman at center, Jack Jones, Chance Hall, and of course injuries, and Jay Sean, and then Kendrick. But I think they didn't do that, and that cost them. And then when they found that group, they started getting better.
Okay, very good. When we look at defense, Bob Shoop was brought in to win a championship. He's talked about it. Let's see the numbers here. By comparison, again, I think schedule is involved here. Injuries, clearly. You've lost Sutton, Reeves, Maben, and Kirkland for much of the year, so that's an impact. But 30-yard plays allowed, only 23 all last year. You've given up 18 through 7 games. 50 20-yard plays last year. You got 36. You see the total yards per game is way up. Rushing yards per game is way up. Passing yards about the same. Points per game, 10 points per game more. Again, I think schedule and injury the biggest reasons there, but there have been some miscommunications issues with this defense. There have been some misalignments so far, some busts. Where do you push the blame for a step backwards on defense?
I think that injuries certainly are a factor, because I think if you got your two best linebackers, Jalen Reeves, Maben, and Kirkland Jr., those numbers would not be quite as high defensively as they've been. But we've also heard from players and from Butch Jones this week, too many missed tackles, too many missed assignments. Right. And the schedule factors in, but the schedule this year, the first part, wasn't a whole lot different than the schedule last year, the first part of the year. Now, those numbers got better as the season went on, no question, but I do think injuries, and I don't know the answer to this, but maybe Bob Shoop was trying to do too much with slants and so forth, and I wonder if that created a little bit of confusion.
Got a little too cute too soon, perhaps? Okay, guys, you got about 30 seconds to split here. Where do you go?
I would say injuries too, definitely. I mean, all those deep plays that have happened, if Cam Sutton was in the game, it'd be totally different. And all the running that's happened on us is totally different if Darren and Reeves Maven are in there at linebacker.
Agreed.
I think I'm a side with them on injuries, but I'm also going to add offense production and special teams production. It's been down this year, and that helps you play better defense.
Special teams has been a big step down from where it was last year. Not that it's bad, but last year it was excellent.
Field position battle makes a difference.
I mean, and you just haven't seen game after game last year, we walked out of there going, wow, this is a great special teams unit. So if you step back to average to, B minus, that's a pretty big drop-off if you're an A+, and I think that's a good point. You're seeing some of that reflected in the defensive numbers. All right, when we come back, all these injuries, some of them may be coming back. The expectation was East title unless there's catastrophic injuries. Well, you've had catastrophic injuries, so should the expectation be tweaked at all? We'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Madisonville Marine.
From East Tennessee to the Carolinas, no job is too big for Benedict Construction. Patios and decks, custom remodels, even custom homes. With a reputation for excellence, rely on the custom work of Benedict Construction.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like G3 John boats, built Gator tough. G3 Johns include all the features you could want from a workhorse boat. Massive live well capacity, lockable storage, even a midship fuel tank that allows for smoother running. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Every red dot on this map marks a car wreck case worked by the car wreck attorneys, Bill Hotz and Associates. Like this one on North Peters Road.
Lee got hurt when she was broadsided by a speeding car. The insurance company offered nothing, so we went to court and got a verdict of $99,000. We've been fighting these battles for 30 years, and we're ready to fight for you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hotz and Associates.
From kitchens and bathrooms to custom patios, decks, living rooms, and even shutters, let the remodeling team at Benedict Construction turn your home into your dream home.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Safety Systems. This segment is. They are your #1 source for security and entertainment needs. Build your perfect man cave, theater, entertainment room with Safety Systems. Call VFL JJ Surlis and ask him about all the work they do at Safety Systems. All right, I want to remind you that tomorrow at 4 o'clock, it's the Pigskin Panel over on Sports Radio WNML. I will be there joining Jimmy Himes, John Wilkerson, and instead of Mr. Overstreet, it will be Mr. Mike Stoll, VFL Mike Stoll. And then Sunday, don't forget, join us. It's an open day, but we're going to be there Sunday, 11 a.m., Channel 6. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk a little basketball, break down some of the basketball recruiting. I know that's a hot topic right now. But a full show as usual. You know, we're 52 weeks a year over on WATE Channel 6, 11 a.m. on Sunday. Okay. We've talked about it. Catastrophic injuries were supposed to be the caveat to this team winning a championship. You've had catastrophic injuries, yet you're still within striking distance. You're waiting on Florida to lose a game. Should the expectations be changed at all? Is it still fair to say, with all these injuries, yes, the expectation is still an East title? Is that fair?
I think it is. I think even with the injuries, Tennessee still should be better than South Carolina and Missouri and Kentucky and Vanderbilt. And while the team that I picked to win the East is different from the one that we have seen because of the injuries, right, I still think Tennessee's better than those teams. Now, if Tennessee goes 10-2 and they don't win the East, I can't really fault them because that means Florida's run the table. I don't think Florida will, but I still think 10-2 and a 6-2 record in the SEC is still the goal.
You could make a very good case that, you know, people are saying, where's the depth? You're supposed to have depth. Well, the depth is what got you to 5-2. There are a lot of teams in this league that if you take out their three of their best 4 defenders, they're not reaching the 7-game mark at a 5-2 record. So you could give a case that the coaching staff has done an excellent job already just getting you to 5-2. So I would agree that if you make it to 10-2, you don't win the East, but you went to 10-2, hard to complain. Guys, should the expectation be changed, or is it still East title?
No, I think it's still the same. You're still trying to get to SC Championship. You're still trying to get to Atlanta. That's what everybody's looking for. And like you said, 10-2, I'm happy with that. You ran the whole East. You only lost to West teams, and West is supposed to be better than East. I mean, you can't fault you for that.
Very good. You agree? Just nod.
I think it's fair.
Very good. All right, we're out of time. We'll see you right back here next Thursday at 7. We'll see you Sunday, 11 a.m. over on WATE 6 for the Sports Source. Thank you for joining us. See you next week. See you Sunday.
This has been a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.